In this topic, we'll zoom out from individual technologies and look at repeatable blueprints for on-chain cross-border payments. You'll see how different design patterns trade off speed, control, and flexibility, and when each one actually makes sense for your institution. You can think of any cross-border payment stack as 4 layers working together. At the bottom are the settlement rails, public blockchains or permission networks where final balances move. Above that is value representation, what actually travels on those rails like fiat-backed stablecoins or tokenized deposits. Then come participant roles, senders, receivers, liquidity providers, and custodians coordinating the transaction and funding. Finally, supporting services wrap around everything: KYC and AML checks, FX conversion, and compliance screening. We'll keep returning to this model so you can quickly place new concepts into a familiar structure. The first pattern is the purest form of on-chain payments. Both institutions agree on the same blockchain and the same stablecoin, then move value directly between their wallets. The sender converts fiat to stablecoins through an on-ramp, sends tokens on-chain to the receiver's address, and the receiver can either hold them or cash out locally. There's no intermediary network managing balances or FX. That simplicity makes it well suited to retail remittances and B2B flows, where partners are technically aligned and the corridor currency is already supported by a stablecoin. When we talk about on-chain operational mechanics, 2 big questions matter. Who is allowed to move value, and when is that movement truly final? Access is governed by cryptographic controls. Institutions issue addresses, map them to verified customers, and maintain risk-based whitelists and blacklists, often via shared registries and VASP directories. If a key isn't associated with a permitted identity, the payment doesn't go through. Finality comes from the chain's confirmation process. Transactions move from probabilistic to effectively irreversible as blocks are added, following clear reconciliation rules your operations team agrees on in advance. The hub-and-spoke model centralizes most of the heavy lifting into one place. Instead of every bank or fintech integrating with every other participant, each connects once to the hub. The hub manages multi-currency liquidity, performs FX, enforces rules, and orchestrates both on-chain and off-chain steps. Spokes mainly focus on their customers and local rails. For your institution, that means fewer integrations to build and maintain, simpler change management, and faster time to launch new corridors or partners, because the network grows by adding spokes, not new bilateral links. Interconnected network models emerge when multiple regional hubs all talk to each other, instead of everything flowing through a single center. In cross-border payments, that means EU, APAC, LATAM, and other regions can clear directly or via several hubs, with routes chosen dynamically based on price, liquidity, or risk. To make this work, you rely on interoperability protocols, cross-chain bridges, standard APIs, and ISO 20022 messaging. The payoff is resilience and better routing options. The trade-off is more coordination, governance, and monitoring across many interconnected participants. Tokenized deposits take the money customers already hold at a bank and represent it as one-to-one digital tokens on a ledger. Instead of moving reserves across multiple correspondent accounts, banks transfer these tokens to settle with each other. Because the network is permissioned, only approved institutions participate, keeping activity inside the regulated perimeter. The promise is faster, programmable interbank settlement that fits within existing banking structures rather than replacing them. When banks build a shared on-chain network, the real value comes from the controls baked into the architecture. First, identity and access. Only KYC'd participants can hold or move tokens, and KYC and AML rules are enforced by the network itself, not left to inconsistent implementation by each member. Next, token management. Mint and burn logic defines who can create tokens, destroy them, and under what conditions. Tokens can represent deposits from a single issuer, or be fully fungible across multiple banks. Finally, settlement logic links every on-chain movement back to internal ledgers, so balances always reconcile and auditors can follow the trail end-to-end. Tokenized deposits behave like today's bank money, just represented on a ledger. They live fully inside the bank perimeter, so regulators can mostly reuse existing bank rules. Your counterparty is the specific issuing bank, and usage tends to focus on closed interbank networks and wholesale flows. Public stablecoins sit outside that perimeter. They may be issued by non-banks, with risk tied to both the issuer and the reserve structure. In return, you gain open networks, broad reach, and a better fit for retail and fintech style use cases. Use this framework as a map for choosing a settlement pattern, not as a ranking. Start by asking two questions. First, how open does your system need to be? Public stablecoin rails sit toward the open end. Tokenized deposits and JPM-style bank networks sit toward the closed, permissioned end. Second, who are the participants and what volumes and values are you serving? Low-value retail flows can tolerate simpler, more open models. High-value wholesale flows usually justify more controlled, networked, or tokenized deposit designs. Before you place anything on this map, check the constraints: regulation, your KYC model, and your institution's technical readiness. When you choose an on-chain design, anchor your decision in the business scenario, not the technology. For retail remittances, you're dealing with low-value, high-volume payouts where cost and speed dominate, and counterparties are often unbanked. Direct stablecoin transfers on public chains usually fit best. For B2B payments, the priority shifts to reconciliation, SLAs, and integration with ERPs. Hub-and-spoke enterprise networks typically support those needs more effectively. For corporate treasury, think high values, strict regulation, and predictable liquidity. Permissioned, tokenized deposit networks generally align best with governance, controls, and audit requirements. The key idea is synthesis. Real-world cross-border strategies rarely bet everything on a single chain, a single vendor, or a single design pattern. You'll likely combine public stablecoin rails for reach and user experience, a central liquidity hub to coordinate FX and funding, and one or more permissioned bank networks for regulated settlement. Your role as an internal champion is to decide where each rail adds the most value, and then design the handoffs so customers experience one seamless service, not three separate systems.